part 2 of exploring Great Lakes bathymetry with GIS. Let's turn our attention now to investigating the floors or the bottoms of the Great Lakes. Based on your observations of the bathymetric contours of the Great Lakes, answer the following questions. Why do you suppose these lakes are so important to commerce in the USA and Canada? Which lake is the deepest? Which lake is the shallowest? Name the part of each lake, using cardinal directions in your answer, that is the deepest. Can you detect any underwater canyons or cliffs in the Great Lakes? If so, where are they? What are the 3 largest towns or cities on the shores of each of the lakes? Which of the cities have the deepest harbors, the shallowest? And I'd like you to think about why those cities are located where they are. It's all about geography. Between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario are the famous Niagara Falls. If you haven't been there, I highly encourage it. Ships obviously cannot go over it, as it is between 57 meters or so, or 187 feet tall at Horseshoe Falls, and a shorter distance, but still significant, for the other falls. How do ships get around the falls? Search for and zoom to the city of Port Colborne, Ontario, Canada, noting the canal between this city on Lake Erie north to the city of Port Dalhousie on Lake Ontario. Ships use this canal to avoid Niagara Falls. How long is this canal? Change the base map to USA Topo Map. This map shows elevations of the land at selected places on the base map. Careful! The elevations on the largest scale maps here are in feet, the medium scale are in meters, and the small scale are in feet. Choose your desired scale, ideally the largest, so that you can see the elevations most clearly. Zoom and pan the map on the shoreline of Lake Ontario near Rochester, New York. Note the elevation of the shoreline. Do the same thing for the shoreline around Duluth, Minnesota at Lake Superior. Based on your observation, which of the 2 lakes is the highest in elevation? The lowest. Knowing this, which direction does the water flow over Niagara Falls? From Lake Ontario to Lake Erie, or from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario? Does water flow from Lake Superior to Lake Ontario, or from Lake Ontario to Lake Superior? Zoom out until you can see the Atlantic Ocean. Which lake, Ontario or Superior, is closer to the ocean? Does this confirm your earlier answer about the elevation of each lake, and which direction the water flows in the lakes? Although modern-day water is constrained in the lakes through human intervention, locks, some does indeed flow to the ocean. Indeed, 3,160 tons of water flows over the Niagara Falls every second, or 75,750 gallons of water per second over the American and Bridal Veil Falls. That's 286,745 liters per second, and 681,750 gallons per second. That's 2,580,704 liters per second over the Horseshoe Falls. Good grief, that's a lot of water. Suppose you are assigned the task of identifying the deep places in the lakes where shipwrecks may have occurred at specified depths. Open the data table behind the contours via the ellipsis to the right of the data layer. Then click on the depth, in meters, field. Sort descending. Each of the 119,813 records in the table represents one bathymetric contour on the map. Scroll down in the table, looking at the deepest contours. In which lake are all these deepest places? Maps are rich sources of information, but sometimes they contain too much information to be easily understood. Filtering maps or data tables can make specific data clearer. Use the filter tool to the right of the map. Add an expression. Depth is at least 100 meters, as shown here. Examine the resulting patterns. Which of the Great Lakes do you believe has the highest percentage of its depths at 100 meters or more? Which one or ones of the 5 Great Lakes have no depths more than 100 meters? Where is the deepest part of Lake Huron? Open the table. How many records exist in the newly filtered table? Jot this number down. Then clear the filter and examine the original table to be able to compare the number of records in the original table versus the filtered table. What percentage of the original data set, as measured by the number of records, do you have in the filtered table of only the deep contours?